Hello and welcome to the Online Trainers Podcast, where we go behind the scenes to uncover the latest tactics and strategies top trainers around the world are using to get more clients, dominate their marketplace, and get their clients amazing results. There is absolutely no fluff here. I'm your host, Lynn Trin. Hello and welcome to episode 219 on the Online Trainers Podcast. Today's topic is Stories Will Sell. So I was just thinking, I was reflecting this morning in the office, and I got in and I was just journaling down kind of the past experience for me over the last 4 years, since 2014 to 2018. I think I've been on this 4-year journey, and it feels like, it does feel like forever. It feels like business is something I've been running for quite some time now. But as I reflect back, I start to go, well, in 2014, I absolutely knew nothing about business. I worked inside of a gym. I was a subcontractor. I had in Australia what they call an ABN, where you have a business number, but it doesn't literally mean anything. I had a business card that I would give around from time to time, but like 99 of them would be stashed in my bag. And the biggest thing that, when I looked back and I reflected and I said, well, what was the biggest hurdle that I had to go through? Was it creating a product? Was it that internal struggle? Was it selling? Was it trying to get my message and my brand out there? And what do I need to do? But more importantly, what inside of my own learning experiences, what can I share with you, especially if you're in that phase right now? And if I was to categorize everything, there's a ton of things that you kind of do need to do, but they're probably not of equal importance. And what I mean by that is, focusing a lot of your time on building out your website or building out your coaching program or stuff like that. That's not going to move the needle forward initially at the start, because what you need to understand at the start is that cash flow is tight. You don't have a lot of money to spend. You don't have a lot of advertising dollars to spend. And I truly believe this. I truly believe that if you want to succeed, you have to be better than the marketplace. That's a very, very big statement that I'm going to make. You have to be better than other people out there that are advertising. You have to be better. You're going to be a better coach. You just have to be a little bit better than them, and you'll succeed. But unfortunately, if I was to look back and I was to go, okay, would the Lynn 2014 be better than the marketplace today? And would Lynn, if I was in the gym, would I be better than the marketplace? And of course not. And I wish I had this resource, and I wish that, it's a learning experience, because what I say a lot of the times to my clients is this. I say, you can conceptually know how to squat 200 kilos. You can see it done. You have to be great. You have to be a great athlete. You have to train. But if this is the very first time you're walking into the gym, the capacity to squat that 200 kilos is not there. You're not going to have the capacity. And so if there's one thing I look back on, and it's the biggest shift that you can make inside of your marketplace right now, is your ability to market. Now, a lot of people hate marketing, and a lot of people think that marketing is putting up, especially fitness professionals, putting up selfies of their glutes and G-strings, shredded board abs, and they think that is marketing, and that is a form of marketing. That is marketing, but that's not the marketing that I'm talking about. In fact, I get a lot of influencers that come to me with 500,000 followers or 1 million followers to 2 million followers, and they go, well, Lynn, can you help me? Can you help me sell this product? And I'm like, well, it's quite difficult, because if you're trying to coach women and you've put naked selfies of yourself to build that following, well, 95% of your followers are men. And so trying to sell a coaching product to women doesn't actually work, because most of your followers aren't there for the right reason. So that's kind of the struggle that we've had to have in those conversations. But I'll move on to that in another episode. I want to get back to this one, because the very first skill that you're going to need, and truly, if I know this is going to sound like a broken record, but you need to really niche down. And if I was to say that to myself, in 2014, I'd say, Lynn F off, right? Like I'm training everybody. That's how I'm making my money. And training corporates to females to rehab. And I get it, because the idea of niching down means that you're going to say no to 95% of people that you'd normally train, and you'd focus on the 5%. Now, the problem with this, especially when you want to build a business, so I want you to think about this. Every great business is known for something. Every great business delivers one product, okay, solves one problem, and they solve it really, really well. They solve it really, really well. Okay, I want you to think about that for a second. So if you want to be great, if you want to have a business, if you want to move and be better than the marketplace, you have to. That's the thing. I said be better than the marketplace. You have to solve one problem really, really well. And if you don't niche down, if you don't find a niche, if you don't find a particular area of expertise or a congregation of people who have a similar problem that you can solve, you cannot be better than the marketplace. And so I want to try to reinstate that now. Now, a lot of you listening will think, well, how do I do that? And the first thing is just to have that intention of doing that. Just have that intention that a year from now I'm going to be so good at this that I'm going to triple down, I'm going to double down, I'm going to quadruple down on this particular topic. I'm going to start putting, I'm still going to do the same thing, but right now online on my social media, I'm going to start talking about this thing and then build that up. You don't need it to go and switch around. You just have to build that thing. Now, initially people are going to be like, well, what do you do? Right? But you'll keep doing this for so long. Like after 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, people start to go, okay, well, that's what he does, because you are vocal about it. And it's on social media, so it must be true. So once you understand that game, and you found your niche, or however you say it, I don't know, I've got an Aussie accent, but whenever you find your niche, you will begin to figure out that the best way, and the thing that I wish I learned the most, and the thing that's the most difficult yet the most rewarding in terms of revenue, in terms of business growth, is your ability to influence and get leads. Like actually get people to come to you, not leads like running huge opportunity ads or chasing people, but actually build a brand. This is the thing. So it begins with developing and going all in with a H on a niche. And when you begin to do that, you start to dominate that marketplace. And I want to give you an example here. If I was to go work with men and dads and then niche that down to 30 plus dads who want more, who are overweight, and that's my area. And they're working dads, they're businessmen, and they're dads. And now my niche is trying to help these businessmen not only have more energy back, but actually be a good role model, be a good husband, balance everything. This dad feels like he's got the weight on his shoulders. And me as a coach, how do I help him first and use the foundations to health and fitness to actually organize everything else inside of his life? And then I begin to ask myself the question, well, what are his stories? What is his pain? And there's this thing called the surface level pain, and that is, well, he wants to lose weight, and fantastic. That's the thing that he sees every day in the mirror. It's the thing that's, when you've got a cut on your hand, you only see the cut. You feel the cut everywhere you go. But as your skin heals and as that resolves itself, the urgency to fix that removes itself away from your life. So I want you to think about this for a second. You've got this dad, and you really understand that his pain, and he thinks his pain is losing the weight, but it's not so much why he wants to lose the weight. It's what is the identity? What is the identity that he associates himself with by having that weight? What is the weight actually stopping him from doing? What does he think he'll become, or who is he looking at himself as right now and saying, well, I don't want to be that guy? So it's not so much about the pain. If you want to dig in, the pain is the surface level thing. The pain is the weight. But if you truly want to influence somebody, you have to be able to go, okay, what are they painting themselves as? Well, who are they judging themselves by? What don't they want to be? What do they want to move away from? and look at the identity that they're trying to paint. Everybody creates an identity. And if you know your avatar, if you know your ideal client, if you know your niche that well, the most powerful thing is, look, I know you feel this way. I know you feel this way. I know you wake up in the morning and you're groggy and you're tired and you look in the mirror and you've just gained 3 pounds, and your wife looks at you and she doesn't feel the same way about you physically, but she won't tell you that, and you know deep down that physically you've let yourself go. But more pressing than that, when the kids come up to play with you, you find yourself quite tired, and by 5 p.m. when you come home, all you want to do is go to sleep or sit on the couch and watch TV, and that's okay, and that's not your fault, because you've got the weight of the world on your shoulders. You've got everything to juggle. Everyone's relying on you at work. It's stressful. And then at coming home, you've given so much to work that, hey, you're at home and you can't give to your wife, your family, your kids, and the last thing that you want to do is go and work out. And I get it. And so I want you to understand right there that whilst we dug into the pain that this man does want to lose weight, we dug in and we spoke to his identity, and I began to question his ability to produce as a man. The thing that he doesn't want to be. He's already got an image of what, certain fathers are, the stereotypes. Everyone's got a stereotype. And so if you begin to look at that's and master that and be able to talk to him or her based on that lingo, that message, the game will change for you, because here's what I learned. I learned that if you can tell somebody's story better than they can themselves, if you can paint the picture, if you can paint their world, you immediately gain trust. You become the expert authority, literally. Because by me painting that, he's going to be like, Lynn, that is me. Can you help me? And I'm like, of course I can. Right? Now he's going to be persuaded to move because I can tell him what we can do. And now, because we've painted the pain identity, I can then shift him into the pain or the possibility. All right. So there's one thing I want you to learn from this podcast episode. And I really think back as I was journaling, and I'm super grateful for the learning experiences. I truly believe that without the downs, without the hustle, without the pain, without being broke, without, the shit colliding in my face, I wouldn't have, you don't grow. You don't grow to develop yourself as a character. It's like what they say, you squat, and if you go to fail and you don't fail, well, you never go harder, you never go stronger, you don't fix things up. And if you never fail, you never know how good the wins are. And so I want you to win as well. And there's one thing that if you're out there and you're listening to this and you're wondering, well, shit, how do I actually get started? Number one, double down and pick a niche. Really, chances are, you're going to have to do this. It's just when. Truthfully speaking, I remember sitting there and I remember listening to a podcast and I'd go, whoa, shit, that's great advice, but I'm just going to push it off. The first thing I can tell you right now is, look, when you look at the journey, in 2014 when I started, I was like, oh man, this is over. Everyone's doing this, and it's always going to feel that way. And it's true that everyone's doing this, but I'm going to tell you something. Everyone's not doing this well. Everybody's not doing this well. And what you need to understand is that when you do it well, when you want to be the best, you want to be the most trusted advisor, you suddenly rise to the top, and everybody else looks like they're amateurs. And I want to share that with you because it's so prevalent in kind of my space right now, like the business coaching, mentoring space. I see so many trainers and coaches getting burned, getting underserviced, getting undervalued, given the wrong tools, the wrong strategies. And so the best people that come to me have worked with other people, and they're like, wow, this is completely different. And it kind of makes me smile, but also sad, because it says, well, that wasn't hard. I've been in this industry for 4 years. More of the business coaching space and the consulting space in the last year. Shit, wait till I actually get good at this. Wait till I do 10 years of this. It is game over. And so I want to share that with you as well, because, it's not particularly hard to be good. You just have to get good, and you really have to stop thinking about what are the tactics, what are the hacks. Get good at knowing your ideal client, get good at figuring out their pain, get good at being able to tell their story, being able to, having that EQ, that emotional intelligence to care. And when you do so and you begin to have the courage, the internal struggle, the internal revelations to start helping them, putting yourself out there. And I get it, the fitness industry is brutal in the sense that most trainers will be trainers and they'll put you down for no particular reason, simply because your worldview is different from theirs. And that's completely fine. But when you grow and when you learn to lead, you just stop caring, because you know what you're doing is right. So I thought I'd leave you with that lesson. I think that's that's going to be a crucial lesson for you. And I think, moving forward with these podcasts, I want to make it reflective, but more importantly, I really want to give you some deep insights into what it is that you take if you're starting out and you're moving, but you don't know where to move. The number one problem that I get every single day is coaches just like you coming to me and going, Lynn, where do I start? What do I do? You're so confused. And if there's one thing that I can do to stop the confusion, stop all the noise, is stop consuming shit. And the first thing is to start doing shit, right? You already know that. And I say this a lot of the times to clients. I say, you're being that client that jumps from diet to diet to diet to diet, and you know everything, but you actually haven't done anything. And you haven't done it for long enough. And truthfully speaking, I said, well, if your clients that jump from thousands of diets, they say they've tried every diet, but it doesn't work. Well, if they actually tried one diet, I don't care, pick any and actually follow through with it and then managed it and then worked around it and then were resourceful enough to overcome any struggles, that person would find a way. And it's the same thing in business. I'm just going to have you consider that the fact that you're not where you want to be is simply because you keep second guessing yourself, you keep consuming, you keep confusing yourself, and you don't actually have that pen to paper, that intention that this is it. This is what I'm going to do this year. So I want you to think about it for a second, because when you commit to something, and it's really funny because I'm committing to the very first CrossFit Open ever. And it's amazing what happens when you enroll. You do it. It's set. You're going to figure it out. So I want you to think about that for a second. I want you to write this down, and writing it down is powerful. Go commit to when you're going to be that expert inside of that field, by which date. And then I love the power of having a competition, in the sense that, hey, if you have a meet, if you have an intention, if you can put it up, if you can post to me on Facebook and let me know, I'm more than happy to keep you accountable. I'm more than happy to send you resources and guides. And of course, if you want to work together, that can be an option as well. But regardless of that, I think the first step for you right now is to actually stop consuming, to actually write down your commitment, because there's something amazing. I don't know if you've ever competed, but I remember competing in 2012 with my first bodybuilding show. And as soon as I registered, as soon as I paid, I was on the treadmill doing cardio. Now, why? Morning, night, I was just not lean enough. And I did not have enough patience. So I did a ton of cardio, but I didn't question it. I just said, this has to get done. So it's getting done. Things just get done along the way. I don't even question it. And now you try to get me out of bed at 5 a.m. to do cardio. I'm like, no, thank you. So it's that commitment that's going to keep you going, and that desire to want to be better. So that's it from me for today. I hope this helps, but I hope it tremendously gets you to think about what are the things that you're currently missing, and more importantly, we'll talk about the internal struggles along the way. But the first thing is figure out your niche, begin to study and find out the stories and find out that pain identity. That's very, very powerful. All right. And that is all. And I'll see you on the next podcast episode. Of course, reach out to me if you want me to keep you absolutely accountable, and let me know what niche you're going to dominate with. Alright, if you enjoyed this podcast, please leave me a 5-star review on iTunes, and feel free to leave a review, and that way I can respond, and I can take that on board in developing content to serve you. Now, if you're not a part of the Online Trainers Club on Facebook, please do yourself a favor and be a part of the conversation. That's where I add daily tips, tricks, and strategies on how you can build out funnels, how you can get more clients, and ultimately become a better online coach. Thank you for listening.